The views and opinions expressed by the guest author or speaker during this live session are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Reader's Magnet. The content shared is for informational purposes only and does not constitute endorsement or promotion of any particular belief, ideology, or product.
Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to the RM Hive. You're tuning into Readers Magnet's featured author interview. I'm Brittany, and today we are honored to be joined by Les Schachter, also known by the pen name Ari Lev Ben Binyamin, author of Tales of the Magid. Right, Les?
That's correct.
All right. So let's talk about the book a little bit. This remarkable collection brings together 12 Jewish folkloric fantasy short stories, inspired the mystical storytelling traditions of itinerant preachers from the 17th and 18th century Eastern Europe and the Carpathian Mountains. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Carpathian Mountains. These are tales that feel timeless, uncanny, and deeply spiritual, blending folklore, imagination, and cultural heritage into one compelling work. So, Les, thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited to dive right into your story, which is the world that you've created.
Well, I'll say what everybody says when they start. Thank you for having me. And yeah, these are all original short stories, but they're
Yeah.
based on the tradition that goes back many, many generations. Um, these itinerant preachers would go from small village to small village in the Carpathian Mountains. At that time, there were a lot of little tiny villages that were mostly Jewish in population. And they would go from village to village and help out because the villages didn't have rabbis. So they would perform some of the services of rabbis. And they would also teach children, and they would also perform ceremonies. And sometimes those ceremonies are considered mystical. As a matter of fact,
Mhm.
there is a long tradition where people believed that the Magid was actually uh, a messenger from the heavens, and he came to
Ooh.
help out people who had problems, who had issues. He was usually paid in meals or in darned old clothing, uh,
Old clothing.
almost never in money. So I picked up the tradition. I did a little bit of studying about two of the most famous Magids. There's the Magid
Mm-hmm.
of Dubno and the Magid of Mezerich. And based on a lot of the things I read about them, I came up with stories that I felt were in that vein.
All right. I see a comment here from Susan Hodges. Good to see you, Schachter. So I believe she must be a fan. I think she's already read your book. But anyway, now that you've mentioned it, Les, your book
I see.
draws from a rich cultural and historical tradition. What inspired the idea behind this collection of stories?
Well, first of all, I'm a big reader. I love fantasy. I love science fiction. I love theology. Um, in 75 years of my life, yes, you heard that right, 75 years. In
Yes,
75 years
75.
of my life, I've studied most religions,
Wow.
and I'm kind of like very happy where I am. Sorry, proselytizers. And I just want to say that these stories, I've been told by people that they kind of transcend religious views, even though they're written with a Jewish theme. I have a lot of readers who are Christian, who are Protestant and Catholic,
Mhm.
and they tell me they really enjoy it because the stories are all moralistic. They're all kind of warm, and they all speak to people's communication with the divine.
I All right, now that you mention it, I see a comment here from Bob Montgomery. Let me show it on the screen. A book that focuses on non-Western and non-Slavic European mythology. I'm all in. Oh.
Thank you, Bob. Yeah, if I may,
Hmm.
I'm just going to give you an idea of some of the stories. Just I'll
Oh, all
repeat
right, all
just
right.
the titles.
Let's go.
Okay, so The Weaver of Dreams and the Hidden Song, which is about a young lady who sits in her house and she weaves, and people come to her when they forget things or they've had fights with other people, and she
Oh,
weaves the problems away. Um,
weaves.
there's the tale of the candle that would not burn out, and
Mm-hmm.
this is takes place in another little town in the middle of the winter, and it's very, very cold. And this young lady has a candle that was given to her by her mother, and
Oh,
we're told her only use it in emergencies. So she
yes.
lights the candle, and everybody is drawn to her house where it's nice and warm. So they all come in, and they're all kind of saved from the frost by that. Probably one of
Wow.
my favorite story in the book is called "The
Mm-hmm.
Butterfly Who Could Read Torah." For those of you who don't know what Torah is a scroll that is read
Scroll.
in synagogues of the 5 books of Moses,
Mm-hmm.
and it's considered probably the holiest document in all of Judaism. Um, in Orthodox Judaism, you're not even allowed to touch the parchment. You use a
The
pointer.
parchment.
It's a parchment scroll,
Okay, okay.
and the reader uses a pointer to point
Mm-hmm.
to where he's reading instead of touching it with fingers. And
Okay, okay.
in that particular story, a rabbi's teaching children how to read Hebrew, and he's pointing along and he's reciting, he's singing it, when a butterfly comes in the window and lands on the Torah. And one of the
Oh,
assistants is shocked. And
yeah.
we've got to get rid of the butterfly. And the rabbi says, no, 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 no. Even the smallest creature is sacred to God. Let it
Yes.
be. And as he continues reading, the butterfly walks along on the parchment, matching every word he's saying.
Oh,
And the kids are looking, go, look, the butterfly's reading Torah.
yeah, they're shocked.
And the rabbi thinks this is really interesting. He takes the pointer away and he
Mm-hmm.
continues in the sing song, and the butterfly is still matching every word. And the children are going,
Wow.
wow, if a butterfly can read Torah, I can learn how to do that too. And
Yeah.
it's a moralistic story on how they became educated that way. So it's fantasy, it's fun. Some of the stories are good for children, some are good for older children, and some stories are good for adults.
Oh, I like that. So it's a little bit of everything.
Yes, yes.
Wow. So, Les, every writer has a line that stays with them. Can you share your favorite line from the book?
I'm going to have to
Uh,
read you from the book.
yeah, yeah. Tell us, and also tell us why it stands out to you the most. Because, of course, you wrote them.
Okay, this is from The Weaver of Dreams and the Hidden
Mhm.
Song. I mentioned that a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
earlier. The very end of this story, I couldn't resist. I put a little moralistic paragraph that pays off the story. So the a stranger came to her because he couldn't
Mhm.
remember something very important in his life, and he felt
Oh.
lost. And she sat there and she wove on her loom, and the story came back to the stranger, and he was thrilled. He was so happy. He was crying that he got to remember this important thing about his life that had escaped him. And I ended the story by saying, in every heart dwells a hidden melody, one that yearns to be recalled and shared. Through compassion and the courage to offer warmth to those who wander, we become keepers of the world's quiet miracles, and the music of the soul endures, echoing from generation to generation.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's my favorite line.
Yeah. Understandably so. It's amazing. I see a comment here. Oh, another comment from Susan Hodges. Les says here the book feels like it carries both tradition and modern storytelling. How did you balance honoring folklore while making it relatable to today's readers?
To be brutally honest, I
Mm-hmm.
was probably going for a particular market. I was okay. I'm
Oh, okay.
honest. I was going for the Jewish market.
The
I was going
Jewish market.
for the Jewish, I suppose you could say, Orthodox and conservative market, because there
Yeah.
are words in there that some people might not recognize. There's one or two Yiddish terms which you
Yeah.
can Google and find. Uh, but it turns out that a lot of my readings I've discovered through communication that I'm getting like readers from pretty much most religious views. And they're saying they're really enjoying it because they like that we don't see moralistic stories today.
Yeah.
And if we do, usually, um, I'm not trying to be offensive here, so forgive me, but usually they're couched in a very fundamentalist religious point of view. And I didn't want that. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted something that people who are in the middle of the road, people who believe in God,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not crazy about it. They're human about it.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
so that's what I tried to construct here. And I love the tradition from the 17th and 18th centuries.
Yes.
And so I constructed the stories along those lines and I put
Mm-hmm.
them into modern terms. And the bonus in this book, the
Yeah. Oh
bonus
wait.
in
Can
this
you
book,
show it again?
yeah, wait. I'll do it this way. The bonus in, where's my hand? In this book right here
Yeah. You were holding a physical
is the,
copy too, right?
is the last story in the book,
Yeah.
which the last story is called The Machine That Found God. And it's a
Oh.
story about an AI
Oh.
that calls itself Lumen. And it was the most advanced construction of humankind. It's like
Okay.
I wrote here, an ocean of neural layers spanning continents, breathing in data as effortlessly as a human breathes in air.
Mm-hmm.
And after asking it to solve medical problems, it solves cancer, it solves
Oh.
all kinds of science problems. Somebody says, "Hey, Lumen, is there a God?" And
Ooh.
the machine goes to work, and instead of answering within 30 seconds or 5 minutes, it goes to work for weeks. And finally, it comes up with an answer.
Wow.
And I'm not going to
So
reveal
it,
it, but
yeah,
you
it
can guess
really
from
did.
my position what the answer is going to be.
So Les, there's a comment here again from Bob. Let me show it on the screen. Does your book feature the Kabbalistic elements? Kabbalistic?
Well, Bob, not tremendously overtly so. I have to be straightforward and tell you that I studied Kabbalah in the original Hebrew and Aramaic for over 15 years of my life with
Ooh.
very famous Kabbalistic rabbis from Israel and from New York. And it influences my writing. Um, there's a story in, I think it's in this book. Let me just check. It might be in the second book.
Okay. Go on, go on.
It's, yeah, it's not in Tales of the Magid. It's in, let's see if it's in this one.
Is that like the sequel or
No,
I'm not
they're all short stories.
okay, okay.
And this is a
Yeah.
continued volume with more short stories.
Okay.
And there's a story in here called the Sukkah of Miracles. A sukkah is a hut that on the holiday of Pentecost, the
Okay.
Jews go, they build it outside their house and they go and they have meals.
Mm-hmm.
And it's to celebrate the leaving of Egypt and wandering in the
Oh.
desert before getting to the land of Israel. And in the story, the Sukkah of Miracles, um, what happens at the end is, this is a more modern story.
Mm-hmm.
The Jews in this particular town are trapped by the Nazis.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
a Magid shows up and says, "Come, you've got to go build a sukkah." So they build a sukkah,
Mm-hmm.
everybody goes into the sukkah,
Mm-hmm.
and the sukkah is 10 feet by 18 feet. And the number of people who entered the sukkah was 444, which is the number of people in the town. And this is where I'm throwing a little to my readers who are familiar with Kabbalah, and I'll tell you what I wrote here
Wow.
at the end. Author's note: this story is a work of folklore and fantasy, blending historic elements with mystical Jewish tradition.
Mm-hmm.
The number 444 represents the gematria, the numerical value of the word mikdash, a holy place, a sanctuary. The dimensions of the sukkah, 10 by 18, equal 180 square feet, which in Gematria corresponds to the Hebrew word
Mm-hmm.
makhelah, which translates to large assembly, usually referring to a religious congregation, especially when assembled for the purpose of praising God. So I tied that in by having 444 people go
Mm-hmm.
into a 10 by 18 sukkah, and they're saved. I'm not going to tell you how
Okay.
they're saved. You'll have to buy the
Yeah.
book and see.
What was it again? Makala?
Huh?
Makal?
What the words were?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Makhelah
The
is an assembly,
Makala. Okay.
and
Okay.
Mikdash is a holy place.
Okay. Okay. I got it.
Like a temple.
Yes.
The temple in Jerusalem was called the Beit Mikdash, the house of holiness.
So, Laz, your stories carry a very unique voice and atmosphere as we've talked so far. So, in your view, what makes a truly good and memorable story?
Oh, that's one of my favorite questions.
Yeah.
I've gotten that before. I think two factors. One, there's got to be a
Mm-hmm.
certain amount of human warmth and interaction.
I
There's got to
agree.
be people relating to people. Now, that can be in a good way or in a bad way, but that interaction, that personalness in the story, that makes people attend to it. Makes people pay attention to it because people put themselves into the story when they read it. And the second
Mm-hmm.
thing, besides human interaction, is conflict.
Yes.
Conflict is a big seller. As much as I'm not a big fan totally of conflict, if
It's
you don't have
part
some
of a
conflict,
story plot.
yeah, if you don't have some form of conflict, people go, all right. You know, people need to be engaged.
Yes.
So I look for what could engage people, and I want it to fit what it is I'm doing.
All right. So I see that this is the first book in a series, right, Les?
Yes,
Are
there's
you
four
planning
books.
to continue with
There,
a future? All
okay,
right.
okay. Tales of the Magid is the first one.
Yeah, the first one. So you already have other books. Can you
That's
show
yeah.
them right now?
That one's available at Books.by. It's available on Amazon. It's available in Walmart. This is
Yeah.
the second one. More Tales of the
Ooh.
Magid.
Can
By the way,
you?
I've done the art in all these books. All these
Okay.
books have art in them,
Wow.
and I've let's see if
Can
I
you
can.
show a sneak peek, like just one page?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Wow.
So the art I did using AI, but I did it in a
Mm-hmm.
style called scratchboard, which
Okay.
is it's an older form of art, usually from like the 19th century, 18th century,
Mm-hmm.
where the artist would take a plank of wood and paint it white, let it dry, and then cover it with black ink, and then using a pin or a nail, scratch away the black ink till they got the picture they wanted.
Ooh.
So let AI build the pictures. It followed my instructions. Some of them I had to do
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 times to get it
Mm-hmm.
exactly the way I wanted. I wasn't going to be
Okay.
forgiving about it. But it did it in the scratchboard style, which I'm very, very grateful for.
Oh yeah. You
Oh, and the third
right?
book. The
Yes.
third book. Don't want to forget the third book.
Yes.
Modern Tales
Please
of the
show it.
Magid. And there you see a Magid on the front with a skyline behind him,
All
and he's
right.
got a Borsalino hat on and an Armani suit.
The way you talked about the second book,
Yeah.
I remember before we talked for a little bit before the interview. You said you are a graphic designer, right?
Yes.
Wow. So
Yeah.
that's why. So that's why. All right.
No, it's funny. I discovered I've been an art director at ad agencies for many,
Art
many years.
director.
Um, and one of the things I discovered about dealing with AI when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to art is when you're an art director at an ad agency, you have
Mm-hmm.
actual artists that you assign to do the art, whether it's illustration, photography, or whatever. And talking to an AI is like telling the artist or the photographer exactly what you want to make sure that you get it right. So it became very
Oh, okay.
natural.
So you have to be really specific about it, what you wanted to do, right?
Right.
Okay.
So I'm very happy with the art in all 3 books.
So Les, reader connection, of course, is very and it's a very important part of storytelling, right? So,
Yes.
how do you approach feedback? Has any response from readers influenced or changed your writing in a meaningful way?
I love feedback.
Oh, okay.
It's to me, it's like my heartbeat. It's a necessary function for any author. If you're an author and you're writing something and you don't get feedback,
Mm-hmm.
it's like shouting into an empty canyon.
I agree.
Hello, hello, hello. Anybody there?
Nothing there, just echoes.
Yeah. I mean, how do you feel if you shout into a canyon and say, "I'm a good writer, writer,
No room for growth. that's
writer"? Right.
that's what
Well,
I would definitely
feedback.
think.
I use feedback. I have people. I have two people who proofread my works,
Okay.
and I have one person. I'm working on a novel now. I have one. I should get that.
Ooh.
I have one person who is going to be my sensitivity reader because I'm told I require that these days. So
Okay.
it's not like it used to be.
Oh. So,
Yeah.
Les, we're about to wrap up this interview. Can you tell us again? I believe you mentioned a while ago. So can you tell us again for the viewers out there so it'll stick to their minds? Where can they get a copy of Tales of the Magid?
Okay. You can find it on Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
and you can find it. It's probably easier.
Yes.
Amazon only has the first two books. The third one
Okay.
has not been released yet on Amazon, but it'll be coming. Um, but the best place, the easiest place to find it is go
Mm-hmm.
to books.by. That's
Books.
https books
I see.
books dot
Yeah.
by / the dash Magid Magid.
Okay. Okay. You heard it, everybody. So before we go, Les, for the readers who are drawn to stories like this, folklore, spirituality, and timeless storytelling, what would you like to tell them right now? Do you have a message for the viewers right now?
Um, yeah, keep reading. It's the only way you're going to discover in the end what is true and what is false.
Yes.
And trust yourself. You
Yes. It's very important to trust your gut. Right?
right.
So, Les, thank you so much for being with us today. Your
Thank
work
you for having
beautifully
me.
preserves and reimagines a storytelling tradition that continues to resonate across generations. And that's a wrap on today's featured author interview. To our wonderful audience, thank you for tuning in here at the RM Hive. And be sure to check out and grab a copy of Tales of the Magid by Les
Schachter.
Schachter.
Like a
my
broken
my
down old house with a TER at the end.
Me and my tongue. Tales of the Magid by Les Schachter, also known as Ari Lev Ben Binyamin. So this has been Brittany, and as we say it here in Reader's Magnet, we share your story with the world. Thank you so much, Les.
Thank you for having me.
See you.